All right, let's talk about economics. And I promise this isn't going to be just about boring charts and graphs. We're talking about a powerful way to understand, well, pretty much everything. You ever feel like life has these hidden rules? Like you're playing a game, but nobody ever handed you the instruction manual? Like, why are rents in your city just so crazy high? Why does a simple cup of coffee cost what it does? These aren't random. There are invisible forces behind all of it, shaping our world every single day. And figuring out what those forces are, that's what economics is all about. It's not just another subject you cram for and then forget. Think of it more like a new lens, a totally different way of seeing the world around you. So think about school for a second. Most subjects are all about recall, right? How many dates and facts can you memorize? Well, economics kind of flips that on its head. It's all about reasoning. It trains your brain to look at some messy, complex situation and ask, okay, what's really going on here, underneath it all? And how does it do that? It basically hands you this incredible intellectual toolkit. Seriously, you learn to analyze incentives, the real, hidden reasons people do what they do. You learn to evaluate trade-offs, to make sense of data, and maybe most importantly, to challenge your own assumptions. It just gets you into the habit of always asking that question, what's really going on here? Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does this actually help you, in your day-to-day life? Let's dive into what we can call your personal toolkit for decoding the world. For example, here's a good one. You ever notice how some things are always on sale, but other stuff almost never gets a discount? Or why do companies pour millions, sometimes billions, of dollars into branding? It seems kind of weird, right? But the answer to both questions is actually the same, and it's one of the most powerful ideas in all of economics. And that big idea is called elasticity. Now, I know it sounds a little technical, maybe a bit dry, but it's actually super simple. All it means is, how much do we change our behavior when something else, like the price, changes? That's it. And understanding this one little concept is the key to unlocking why businesses, governments, and even you and me make the choices we do. Want a real-world example? Just look at governments. They are absolute masters of using elasticity. Here's their playbook. First, they find stuff that has inelastic demand. Things people will keep buying even if the price goes up. Think petrol or tobacco. Step 2, they slap a tax on it because they know we'll grumble, but we'll probably still buy it. And just like that, they raise a ton of money without completely destroying the market for that good. It's pure economic strategy happening right in front of our eyes. But look, this isn't just for governments. This toolkit is for you. It gives you these incredibly practical skills for your own life. You'll actually understand what inflation and interest rates mean for your savings. You'll get the power of opportunity cost, what you're giving up with every choice you make. And you'll have a real framework for making those big financial decisions with a bit more confidence. Okay, so that's the personal toolkit. Now let's zoom out a bit. Let's talk about the civic toolkit. How economics helps all of us make sense of the wider world and become smarter citizens. Here's the thing about running a country. There are no easy answers. Not ever. Public policy isn't about finding some perfect, magical solution. It's a constant, messy balancing act. It's all about navigating these unavoidable trade-offs, where a decision that helps one group of people might end up hurting another. Let's take a classic example. We all want economic growth, right? More jobs, better pay, but that often bumps right up against environmental sustainability, things like cleaner air or preserving our natural resources. You can't just crank both dials to the max at the same time. You have to make a choice. Or how about this one? This is what central banks worry about every single day. Do you fight to keep inflation low so the money in your pocket is actually worth something? Or do you push for low unemployment to make sure more people have jobs? It's a really tough call because the policies that help with one can often make the other one worse. And then there's maybe one of the biggest political debates of all. How much do you redistribute wealth to create a strong safety net for people versus how much do you focus on incentives to get people to innovate and work hard? Now, economics won't give you the right answer here. But what it does do is give you the tools to understand the debate intelligently so you're not just shouting opinions. And what's so cool about all this is that economics isn't some subject that lives off in its own little bubble. It's more like a central hub. It pulls from psychology to figure out why we make the choices we do. It connects to politics, to sociology, to geography, even math. It really shows you how everything is interconnected. All right, let's bring it all home. Our final section is about your future-proof toolkit. This is how all these ideas come together to help you not just understand the world as it is, but to actually build your place in it. Look at these skills: critical thinking, making sense of data, building a logical argument. These are not just buzzwords you throw on a resume. I'm telling you, these are the exact skills that top universities and the best employers are desperately searching for. This is what makes you stand out. And in a world that is changing faster than ever, this way of thinking doesn't get old. It doesn't become outdated. The core principles, understanding incentives, systems, trade-offs, they actually become more valuable, more relevant with every passing year. Just think about the huge conversations that are shaping our future. AI and automation, global supply chains, climate economics, the future of work itself. At their core, every single one of these is an economic puzzle. This toolkit isn't just for today. It's what you need to make sense of tomorrow. But, the biggest payoff might just be a feeling of agency. You stop feeling like just a passenger in the economy, getting tossed around by forces you can't see or understand. Instead, you become a participant. You become someone who actually understands the rules of the game. So, in the end, it's so much more than just a class you take. The source material for this really says it perfectly. It is a way of seeing the world clearly, critically, and intelligently. The world is just packed with these fascinating, complex, really important puzzles. So the real question is, aren't you curious to start solving them?